Welcome to my channel. I am your host Doodlebug, and here are a few rules for my channel so we don't have any confusion and headaches. Alright now, buckle them bloomers. Number 1. Sock or block. If at any point I want to sock you, I will block you. Don't take it personal. Many on here I adore now have been on this list, and we are friends now. It's my fight or fight response, and I'm usually over it fairly fast. 2. My corner. I say my corner because here, I am passing out information for free, so if you need a handout, it will not be on my corner. Go get your own. 3. No bashing people. We all have that one person we have issues with, but please don't announce your dirty laundry or your neighbors on here. If you and Fredia Faye want to go brawl and dust it up after my live, go have one heck of a time. Just be kind to one another, respect each other, don't ask for money. But go on ahead and hit that like because you know you want to. Thank you, and let's get started.
Hey guys, thank you for joining me. I've gotten over a cold, so my voice is a little bit different tonight. Hey Walt, thanks for joining. Arctic, Barb, Donald Duck. I guess Daisy's out having a fit tonight. Anyway, so I kind of just wanted to go over this. What in the heck is going on in Kentucky? Like, wow. I don't know what's going on down there, but they got some Fredericktown stuff going on. So I figure I'd go over that tonight. My mind's been everywhere. Oh, Mikey, I've blinked twice. Is it frozen? Oh, is it frozen over? Maybe, Mikey. I don't know. My voice sounds terrible. I know. Ugh, it's something else. But I don't know what's going on in Kentucky, but wow, it is definitely some wild stuff going on. But I'll just get into it because first I want to start with this gal right here. Lord have mercy. If you all think about a girl in Kentucky, you better look out for this one. She's pretty, but let me explain. Well, maybe if I can figure this out. Are we already having a train wreck? I haven't been live for so long. I'm not sure. We might have a train wreck. We might not. Hey, what do you know? So, how much of that did you guys actually hear? Was I muted the whole time? Hey, Leslie and Billy. I'm so glad I caught you this time. I'm sorry. Last time I missed you and I saw that you were in there. I apologize. So was I on mute this whole time? Oh Lord. Okay, so I played a Dawn and everybody else is anyway. Long story short, I have a cold. I'm sorry my voice is like this. I'm gonna go over some wild crap going on in Kentucky. I swear it we thought Fredericktown was the wild, wild west, but y'all, there is some wild stuff going on in Kentucky too. So did my intro even play? That's all you heard, Mikey? Well, choo choo. Don't get me giggling. I'll get coughing. Um, all right. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off here. And since I have everybody in here, I want to go ahead and play the intro that I'm. Oh, did it play? Okay, good. I'm glad you guys heard it then, because I was thinking, wow, I look real smart here. Anyway, let's just get into it. Mikey, now you pay attention to this one because this is Kentucky Woman, and I know she's a pretty one, but you ain't gonna want a part of this. I'm telling you. All right, here we are. So this gal here, Kentucky woman accused of totaling ex's car by pouring glitter in his AC and salt in his in his engine. Lord, here in Missouri, we take their transmission. She goes full fledged. She works smarter, not harder. Woo, Lord. Richmond, Kentucky. A Kentucky woman was taken into custody after she allegedly totaled her car's ex following an argument. I really hate that I laughed, but this is wild. According to WDKY in Cincinnati, not really, not Cincinnati TV, citing Madison District Court documents, 31-year-old Stephanie Carlquist, the cuckoo of Richmond, Kentucky. Sorry, they're Madison, but or Stephanie, that's a little weird. Was arrested on Thursday after she was accused of inflicting nearly $12,500 in damage over a 5-day period in July. I want to know what he did to her. Before I go and judge her, I want to know what he did. What did he do? I mean, this is wild. The court documents reviewed by the station allege that she committed the following acts: poured glitter into the air conditioning vent. Genius. Cracked the windshield. Uh-oh. Cracked the rear view mirror. Uh-oh. Busted the vehicle's radio screen. Girl should have took the transmission. Poured salt into the vehicle's engine. Wow. Okay. Now I need to know exactly what he did to her, because this is not some. And she's smiling. Look at that. She is smiling. She is so, so happy. She's like, So I just want to know what he did. I really do want to know. But she has to pay for the repairs. She's got to get him another car. Well, it says give him another car, give him her car. Oh, well, he not only gets another car, she also has to give her his car. There you go. But anyway, I thought this was wild because look at her smile. This is not a woman that has learned her lesson. Hi, Grandma Sherry. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry my voice is so messed up. So I usually don't sound like this, I promise. But yeah, this girl is smiling. Whatever he did to her, she's happy. She's so, so happy. But she's a little wild. So just remember, but I do want to know what he did to her. Because I mean, it goes both ways. But that is still wild to me. I can't. All right, so I'll get started. I'm sure we all remember the little thing going on with the sheriff, and he took out the judge, which I shouldn't say it that way. I don't mean it disrespectful, but I mean he did. He put his whole life on the line, and we immediately thought, hey, he's defending his daughter, his wife. Something's going on here. We don't know for a fact that he wasn't. We don't know that he was, but of course, I'm curious about it, and I was like, all right, so there's something going on here. Grandma Sherry says, hi, Arctic. I shared your channel on Amber Alert petition last night. Excuse me. Okay, so the sheriff goes in and he's friends with the judge in Kentucky, of course. Everything's fine. He goes in and he ends up, taking the judge's life. And then afterwards, he has like amnesia and he's not mentally stable. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. So we're going to look into that a little bit. And I want to give a huge shout out to Court TV because I'm going to be playing their stuff because obviously at this rate, I won't have a voice anyway. So we'll just roll with it this way. It's just a little easier for me. If I don't train wreck again, but I probably will. So, be ready. All aboard.
Turning our attention now to the state of Kentucky, where we're learning more details that could have played a part in the fatal shooting of Judge Kevin Mullins.
Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins is accused of fatally shooting Mullins in his chambers following an argument. We've seen the video of this happening. Now we're learning about other alleged crimes that took place in those judicial chambers prior to the shooting.
Joining us now in studio with the very latest, Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, boy, this case has gotten everyone's attention from the very beginning, and now it's getting even deeper. What can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon, Ted and Julia. We may now have more insight into what.
I better leave myself up here because I think I have to interrupt every once in a while for fair use. Hey, Mustang, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I really do. I'm not sure if Court TV is one that you really have to pause in between, but I'm sure I'm going to have some comments, so I'll just mute and leave myself up here.
Was truly going on behind those closed doors in the Letcher County Courthouse. Newly obtained audio recordings from a police interrogation allege Judge Kevin Mullins engaged in sextortion acts inside the same chambers where he was killed. The recordings are from a 2022 criminal investigation into Letcher County Deputy Ben Fields, who was convicted and sent to prison earlier this year for the rape and sodomy of a female inmate. The woman heard on the recordings is victim Sabrina Atkins, who has been publicly vocal about her claims against the convicted deputy, using his position of power to pressure her and other women to have sex in exchange for favorable treatment. But she says Judge Mullins was involved as well.
But he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just with girls' sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, and just him having sex with girls to further be able to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Who?
The judge and.
Now you saw the video.
Yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean, you.
I mean, I've seen Judge Mullins having sex with a girl.
Who was the girl?
I don't know, because I don't know a lot of people from over there.
Where was it at?
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was the judge in chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
No, Adkins' attorney has gone on record saying, quote, "It's like they were running a brothel out of that courtroom." And Adkins, along with another woman, filed a civil rights lawsuit against the deputy. Sheriff Steins was also named in the lawsuit, and he was deposed.
Lord have mercy. Did they say brothel? What in the world? Holy. Miss Kitty she done went, this got 2025. All right, let's finish watching. Lord have mercy.
In the ongoing suit days before shooting Mullins back in September. But further in those recordings, Adkins can be heard saying Sheriff Steins was involved in the sexual scandal as well.
But you saw the video of the judge. Any other videos that you actually saw?
No. They say that the Sheriff Mickey Steins is involved. I don't know.
Who said that?
Chad, he said he had videos with Mickey. And Mickey used to do the same thing when he was over house arrest.
Now, of course, Ted and Julia, these are extremely heinous allegations against Sheriff Steins and the late Judge Mullins. And as of now, we do know Steins has pleaded not guilty to murder regarding that shooting.
Well, of course he did. I mean, that is the only smart decision I have seen made so far. I mean, really, how are you gonna? It's on camera. How are you gonna plead not guilty? Yeah, this is actually a very sad story, and I know I make jokes because it's how I cope. And guys, I don't mean any disrespect by it. Really, I don't. This is terrible, but this isn't the only town this happens in. The sad part is these grown men with power have to use these girls. I mean, come on. That is wild. Yeah. Well, he was frantic getting into a police car. I would be too if I just ruined my life. I'm just not sure. I don't know. I'm watching this with you guys because I don't know, like, the next couple videos. I waited just to watch with you guys, so I'm sure my reaction is gonna be a little different. But if this is really happening, I'm sorry he knew. Even if I don't know. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, if he knew this was happening, hey, John Paul, thank you for joining. After years of this, it really makes me want. Yeah, yeah, makes me wonder what trip. Yeah, because I mean, at first, I the only logical thing I could think was, he's protecting his daughter or he's protecting his wife. But in all honesty, if that's not the case and he knew that there was this ring going on and he had already been sued or was going to get sued, then I just don't know. I mean, John Paul, I'm hardly even live anymore, so if I can ever get over this, I either sound like a man with this cold or I sound like Mickey Mouse. So this night should be wild. But anyway, if he knew about this the whole time, it almost makes you wonder what was that moment that clicked in his head that was like, okay, this can't happen anymore. But yet, I don't know. I don't know what the girl's going to say because there is a girl on one of these that is actually going to talk about what they've done to her. So I'm really curious about that before I really make judgment. But he did take the man's life, and him being a sheriff, he knew the consequences of it. So yeah, there is some triggering point that I'm curious to what he would give his whole life up for. But I'll hush and we'll go ahead and move on because I'm jabberjaws anyway. All right, so let's do this. Oh, you have to give me a second. It didn't save it. Hang on just a second. I'm sorry, guys. Here we go again with the train wreck. I told you I'm rusty now. I forgot how to go live. I'm doing all this stuff. All right. Let's try this again just one more time. If this don't, it's going to be wild tonight, I'm telling you. They'd play with these women down to threats and drug tests if they tested positive. Yeah. Yeah, I saw some stuff about that. And that's what I'm talking about. If this is really happening, it makes you wonder what's happening in all of these little, not all, but many small towns. None of these women as young girls deserve to be fed some kind of substance and then be played as toys. And I think that's kind of what this could be, but we're fixing to find out.
I'm Vinny Politan. The subject of my investigation is the shooting of Kentucky Judge Kevin Mullins in his chambers by Sheriff Mickey Steins. And now new allegations against Judge Mullins has everyone wondering what was going on in this small Kentucky town. Here's the story. Sheriff Mickey Steins was a pillar of Letcher County until September 19th, 2024, when he walked into Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers and executed him in cold, shocking violence. Surveillance video captured Steins firing 8 shots, even as Judge Mullins cowered behind his desk, sealing a betrayal that stunned their small Kentucky community. Steins abruptly surrendered, his reputation in ruins. In the days before the shooting, he appeared emotionally frayed and subdued during a deposition tied to a civil lawsuit accusing his deputy of courthouse sexual misconduct. That misconduct took place in Judge Mullins' chambers. This shocking fact has many wondering about the extent of this sexual misconduct and exactly who was involved in the abuse of female inmates. Another layer of this scandal in the judge's chambers. From the beginning, this has been a story within a story. We knew there was so much more to what was going on in Letcher County. This civil lawsuit was also part of a criminal case for this alleged sexual misconduct, which was no longer alleged because there was a criminal conviction. Like, it actually happened in the judge's chambers. The same chambers where the sheriff shoots and kills the judge. Take a look at this. In 2022, Steins was listed as a defendant in a lawsuit regarding one of his deputies. Former deputy sheriff Ben Fields pleaded guilty to raping a woman on house arrest that he was assigned to monitor. According to court documents, the victim claims that when she couldn't pay for her ankle monitor, Deputy Fields proposed an arrangement. The plaintiff alleged Deputy Fields took off her ankle monitor, and in meetups that followed, he forcibly had sex with her at the Letcher County Courthouse using threats of arrest to coerce her. Now, the plaintiff in that civil case, which came after the criminal case, also sued Sheriff Steins, alleging negligent hiring, training, and supervision of Deputy Fields. Now, let's go back to the location. Where is this taking place? It's taking place in the judge's chambers, this scandal. Which brings us to the first question in our investigation, which is about the judge, the victim of the shooting. Was Judge Mullins involved in the sextortion scandal?
Okay, wow. Like, what What? Of course he was involved in the scandal if it was happening in his chambers. I mean, is there anyone in this town that has power that isn't a part of this? Oh my goodness, this is so sad. Because, if I don't know if any of you lived in small towns or was raised in small towns, but really, I mean, everyone knows everyone. There's no way this town did not know something was going on. There's just no way. I mean, everybody knows who's baking on Sunday. You die famous in a small town. You just do. I mean, even if you're a hoe, even if you're not a hoe. This is awful. This is actually terrifying. And to think that these girls, the mental anguish that they have been through, but the courage to tell her story, hey, good for her. Good for her. Good, Barbara. I'm so glad they're talking about it because this stuff right here should have been talked about long ago. But I could see why they're not. If they're taking their children from them, calling, CPS on them, and they're losing their kids, and I could see why they kept their mouth shut. But wow, this right here, this stuff has to stop. Maybe maybe the sheriff needed it to stop. I don't know. I hate to judge. I really don't know here. I don't know what's going on. It's never the right answer, and he knew it. And he was not feared for his life when he went in that judge's chamber. So there's that too. So I don't know.
The scandal involving a deputy in his chambers. All right, here to help answer that question is former inmate Ty Adams, who's been speaking out about the alleged sexual misconduct by Judge Kevin Mullins himself. Ty, first of all, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being strong enough to talk about this stuff, because a lot of people would just want to erase it, run away from it, and we appreciate you coming on here. Did we lose her? There she is. Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened. My phone went nuts.
That's okay. All right, Ty, first of all, let's talk about the judge. How long have you known, or did you know, Judge Kevin Mullins?
Since I was 16.
Okay, under what was the context of you meeting him when you were 16 years old?
I had a position at the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. My sister worked for him for Edison Banks, and Mr. Mullins was the assistant Commonwealth Attorney at the time. And I had went over to his office to learn how to take a deposition, the first encounter that I had with him.
So it was an employment situation?
Yeah, kind of. But like I said, I was underage. It wasn't really a formal job. It was kind of like just informal training for me.
Okay.
In office management, filing, things like that. Yeah.
And what happened at 16? At some point, did this become what we're talking about here, inappropriate behavior?
The first time that I was alone with him. Yeah, the first time I was alone with him was the first time that he was inappropriate with me, and he had me give him oral, and he paid me for it, and he told me to clean myself up and not to tell anybody.
And he said, clean yourself up. What do you mean?
And
does he
that
mean
just
like,
began.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
His bodily fluids, yes.
Oh, okay.
I was there, I had my top down.
Wow. And how
money
old
in
are
my
you at
face,
this?
said, clean yourself up.
How
I was
old are you
16.
at this time?
I was 16.
Okay. So he's not a judge at that point.
No.
What do you do after this happens? After this incident, 16-year-old girl.
It just escalated from there. It went to having sex parties and getting high with them, doing performances with other women, they would have other men have sex with us on watch. And that continued up until I started going to jail and stuff, and they sent me off to rehab at the age of 20 after my mom died.
Okay, that's a lot you just gave us right there, Taya. Let's go back a little bit. So you have that first encounter, and how does the next encounter happen, and how does this level of escalation go? Like what, how
He
did
just
it move?
started introducing me to his friends, and like it was just made very clear that like that's where my value was.
Were you getting
My
paid
dreams
all
and
the time
plans
for
and
this?
stuff didn't matter.
Was
What?
he paying? You said the first time he threw money at you. Is that the nature of the
Yeah,
relationship?
he paid for it. He paid for it, yeah, throughout up until I started getting in trouble, and then it became about my court cases, and that would be his. And it wasn't just him. There was other attorneys involved, and the county attorney, Harold Bowling, the one that was over my child support, the case that I am on parole on until 2099, he was really bad with me too. I had a lot of really negative experiences with a lot of people from that courthouse.
Okay. Now, people listening, again, we haven't independently verified any of this, but this is your story, and we want you to tell your story. I think it's important about everything that's happening here. There have been a lot of allegations. Not the first time we're hearing about this. When you say...
Yeah, I'm not the only.
Right. Why hasn't anyone heard of this until now from you? Explain it from your viewpoint. If you're a 16-year-old girl and this is happening to you, why does it continue to happen? Why don't you say something or do something about it?
We were groomed for that. They taught us that that's what we were there for. It was so normal. And like the sex part of it, that is really the least of the problems here in Letcher County. It's the way they abuse their power and the things that they do to men and women alike, and families and innocent children, just to keep their secrets.
Now, when you say they, I don't want you to name specific names, you don't have to, but what type of people are you talking about when you say they? Because I understand Judge Mullins, I know who he is. What, when you group them together, why do you group them together as a they? Like, what type of people are we talking about?
The higher ups of Letcher County. It's the other attorneys, the people who work in the jail. It's the whole system, courthouse, basement to roof.
And
pretty much in the buildings surrounding too. There's a lot of like other attorneys and even some like doctors and stuff in town that are involved in these parties that they would have.
Now
and in the very
Okay, I'm curious now. What are you guys thinking so far? I mean, wow. So she's saying that, this is common around here. That's how they get out their tickets. This is what they do around there. I mean, they catch them young, they give them substance, they get them addicted, and wow. And she was 16? So there's no way that how has it taken this long? Unless oh man, is I just tell me your thoughts in chat. Like, what do you guys think? This is wild. Yeah, Sonny, I agree. This is crazy. This should be a Missouri case, to be completely honest with you. I could see this happening in Missouri. Yes, Barb. I mean, I don't know if that happens in Fredericktown. I pray to God it doesn't, but I mean, it's these small towns and power. It's very scary. It makes me worry, we have grandchildren or kids, and what about our daughters? Our future daughters, granddaughters, great granddaughters. I mean, this stuff has to stop. This is crazy. This is wild, really. This just awful. Their mental health at this point, I'm surprised she's even able to talk about it. But good for her for having the strength, because I don't know that, many do. Manipulation to the point they felt trapped. Yeah. Yeah, because they had no choice. And then once they have children, they're really trapped. That's heartbreaking.
various things to different degrees.
Okay, you mentioned parties. Describe to me where that would take place, how it would happen. Again, without naming names, but like who would be there, how many people, a few more details about that. Like I understand the concept, but I'm trying to understand how this actually occurred.
I mean, it would vary. They had different places, residences, apartments that were just like sex rooms, you know, with swings and mirrored ceilings and
Whoa.
things like that.
Is this all
There's
in?
more than one of those.
Is this all in town? This is all done?
No, and in surrounding counties too. Other places as well.
Now,
Yeah.
people are hearing you say that you got paid. So people are going to say, okay, she was a prostitute, right? The other women or girls,
Yeah,
if they're
was a sex
underage,
worker.
were sex workers as
Yes.
well. So was everyone a sex worker versus someone who is up on charges, who is trying to make sure is not necessarily getting paid anymore, but is getting some sort of favoritism or treatment by the system that is kind of holding that over you? How would you kind of break down that division of people, sex workers versus people being extorted for sex?
They don't discriminate who their victims are.
Now, who knew about this?
If you get into it, then they get you whenever they get you for something minor and pull you into it. Or CPS, they'll use CPS to remove your children and then use your kids to make you do what they want you to do.
So what you're saying, what you're alleging here is that it goes beyond the drug court program, right? Where people who are unfortunately addicted to drugs and they're trying to get treatment and, you know, maybe getting out on ankle monitors, et cetera. It's not just the drug court. You're saying it's a wider spread problem here?
Yes, and they would they use the ARC program as well, and they have people that would like come out and get people to relapse. Like this is all documented; it's already proven that they've been doing this for a long time to set people up and get them back in trouble with their probation and parole. And
Sorry, guys, I have to like butt in here every once in a while for fair use, but wow. So not only are they trapping these little girls, not little, well, they're teenagers. They feed them the substance, they do all this party stuff, this ditty crap going on. And then once they get older, you know, I guess they age out apparently. And then once they have children, they still hold this power over them by taking their children away and still trying to feed them the substance, even though they send them to rehab. This is crazy. This is so sad. That is horrible. And it makes you wonder, she's not the only one. I hope that they all can gather together and help each other because she's one strong woman. She's very, very strong. Sorry, I have to keep interrupting, but I don't want to get in trouble for not for the fair use thing.
stuff. And then we just recently found out that they've been extending people's parole sentences even after your time is served out. They're extending your parole indefinitely. And drug court is a sentence in and of itself. And whenever I finished my prison time, I made parole and got out. My reentry papers from the prison said one thing. And then whenever I got to the parole office, my reentry papers said that I was ordered to do drug court by Judge Jimmy Kraft. And he's the head of the drug court program. And I didn't end up having to do it. They made me do the aftercare program, and I did all the other classes, the MRT, the substance abuse, the co-occurring disorders, the parenting classes. I did them all. And anger management. And I served out my sentence down to day 0. And I've never been proud of anything, more proud of anything in my life than accomplishing that with no problems. No failed drug tests, no missed appointments. And I went to go get my graduation, my gold seal, the certificate showing that I was complete and I was free. And they said no, that they weren't going to release me. Wow. And then turns out it's until 2099.
Wow. All right.
And there are other people, many other people that are being held on the exact same thing who have served their sentences out too.
All right, Ty, we're going to take a quick break here, but Ty Adams is going to stay with us. Again, folks, this is her story. It's a huge scandal out there. I just want to read this response, though, from the AOC before we go here. The Kentucky Administrative Office of Courts has no record of receiving information suggesting misconduct by Judge Mullins. The only allegations reported to the AOC involved Judge Mullins' chambers were made by the judge regarding the federal lawsuit filed about non-judicial staff engaging in sexual acts in his office. The AOC added security cameras to the judge's chambers at his request. That's the camera that captured the sheriff shooting and killing the judge. Okay, we're going to get more of Taya's story coming up next. The judge, Taya Adams, who's been speaking out about the alleged sexual misconduct by the judge here. Taya, again.
Yeah, so that was a quick little episode or little commercial because I'm gonna skip through all that. So what do you guys think so far? Yes, it does sound like hell, Sarah. I mean I can't even I don't get it. Like this is terrible. And she said she was 16. That's what gets me the most because I know she knows other people. They're probably afraid. They're not going to say anything. They probably have small kids or they have grandchildren. How long does this have to go on? And just because the judge is gone, does that mean this ends? Or is someone else? Is someone else actually going to take over the judge's place? I mean, that's the worst part about this. We don't know. John Paul, my voice is terrible tonight. This is this is wild, I know, but it just needs to be talked about. This stuff can't go unnoticed. They've been silenced too long. It's time to hear them. I mean, really, it's just crazy. I hope this stops after this, and I really pray that someone else in power doesn't take that judge's place.
Again, thank you so much. Was Sheriff Mickey Steins involved in any of this?
I don't know. I know that he was never inappropriate with me sexually. He was always just professional with me. Like he was firm and he's taken me to jail before and stuff, but he's never crossed that line. So I don't know like what else he might have been involved in, if anything, but not with me or anybody that I'm close friends with.
Okay. Now, from your perspective, is there any way that the sheriff of Letcher County wouldn't know about what you've told us about, these sex parties and other things that are going on?
No, there's no way he didn't know. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. It's common knowledge out there.
Mm-hmm. There are hundreds of victims. That's not an exaggeration.
Let me ask you this. I want to get back to the judge for a second.
Hundreds of victims. Hundreds. Did she just say hundreds of victims? So this is not, yeah, this has been going on for quite a while. So, wow, hundreds. That town can't be that big. So what would have to be generation after generation? That's crazy.
At any point, were you with the judge when he was a judge? You told us the story when you were a teenager and he was one of the lawyers. How about as a judge?
Yeah, I've had many court cases that I've had to deal with him in a personal manner to deal with.
And what happened?
Favors for diversion, favors to pay a fine off, take care of a ticket. I mean,
when and where would
various things
would these favors be paid?
In the chambers, somewhere in the courthouse. There's rooms all over the courthouse that I've been taken to over the years. I've met him like at the strip job in Whitesburg, different places of residence.
And at the courthouse, daytime, nighttime, when?
Mm-hmm. Both.
Like during the business day, while people are engaging in business in the courthouse?
There have been times, yes.
Wow. And when was the last time you had contact with Judge Mullins?
2022, I think is when it was. It was right after I got out of prison. I hadn't been out very long. Yeah.
And where was it that time? Was it in Chambers? Was it somewhere else?
I went to see him at his chambers, and then I met him later somewhere else at the strip club.
Do you know if the camera was in Chambers at that point?
I don't know. I don't know. I seen him on the outside. Like there's a door that goes out the side of the courthouse that him and the others would go outside and stand and smoke a lot, like in between court and stuff, like after lunch or whenever throughout the day. And that's where I met up with him that day. That last time I saw him there at the courthouse, I didn't go inside other than to be in the courtroom with my daughter. And then I spoke to him. I spoke to him before and after outside, and then I met up with him later on.
Let me ask you this, Ty. What was your reaction? What went through your mind when you heard that the sheriff had shot and killed the judge?
That finally somebody has to look and see what they're doing here. They can't look away anymore. We have a chance to get help.
Okay. All right. So I kind of feel like this sheriff, in her eyes, is actually a hero. This happening, and I don't think he's a hero by all means. Absolutely not. He had no right to go in there and take another life. I'm not saying that that's okay. That is not okay for any reason. He could have opened his mouth long ago if he knew. And if that is the reason he did this, then you know what? He should have opened his mouth. But he didn't. But to her, it put a stop to it and finally gave her a voice. So I will say that. But that's all I'll say.
Are you involved in any civil lawsuit or anything at this point?
No.
Has anyone from the state?
I just want my freedom, and I want these people to be able to get their kids back and have a better chance at a future. We just want our freedom and our kids. We want to be able to rebuild and to heal.
Has anyone from the state police or the attorney general's office or from the federal government spoken to you about these allegations?
No, and we've been trying to get word out for a very long time. The attorney general was approached and he just kind of blew it off. There's a video of that interaction floating around on social media. As far as the state police goes, you don't trust the state police. You don't trust many of the cops here at all. But I just heard recently that Mickey tried to go to the state police to have them open an investigation, and he was held no.
Sarah, that's actually a great point. Sarah says, was he in on it and afraid to be caught? Sounds like it to me. You know, he did have a lawsuit. He did have a lawsuit about him not training his men well. That is a great point. Was it getting close to being caught? Was somebody else calling this out and he was in the middle of it? And he was desperate to keep his name out of stuff? But if that's the case, then the judge would have had to have been the only one to know what he was involved in. So I go back and forth, but that is an excellent point there.
So,
and what are your thoughts
what
about? What are your thoughts about the sheriff?
He's my hero. I mean, I'm sure that he's not a perfect man. Nobody is, but he's my hero, regardless.
Taya, I want to conclude here because you know your story a lot better than I do. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you think is important that folks who are watching tonight or people who are listening tonight should know?
Yes, we are still in danger. We are suffering from retaliation. There's been people who have lost their life over this. We need help. We need help from the outside. We need attorneys. We need people. We just need help. And something else, like I said, for what we're planning to do with the future is we're planning to start something called Lexi's Place. And it's just to give a little piece of land and the resources and volunteers to build homes for these women who have been victimized by Letcher County. So that's our big project.
Ty Adams.
Finding healing and moving forward so they can have a chance to get their kids.
Thank you for sharing your story. Please stay safe and we may be speaking to you again because this story, I think, is just beginning. Ty Adams joining us tonight. And again, folks, I have to remind you, we at Court TV have not independently verified any of these allegations, but when you talk about allegations of public corruption, it's important. It has to start somewhere, the discussion at least. These are allegations that are being made. We'll see if there is an investigation. If there is, obviously we will cover it. But there's already somewhat of a connection to the shooting of Judge Mullins, and that's what we're covering up next. How is the sextortion scandal connected to the shooting? Our investigation of the shooting death of Judge Kevin Mullins by Sheriff Mickey Steins, a very strange case with many different layers, including shocking allegations of sexual misconduct by the judge. Here's the story. On a quiet September afternoon in 2024, the Letcher County Courthouse became the scene of a chilling betrayal. Judge Kevin Mullins, a respected figure, father, and alleged pillar of Eastern Kentucky justice, was shot and killed in his own chambers by Sheriff Mickey Steins, a man he once mentored. The attack was swift, violent, and unthinkable. Mullins was struck multiple times, collapsing behind his desk. News of his death rippled through the community like a shockwave. Courtroom staff wept openly. Sheriff Steins surrendered moments later, stunned and trembling. What drove the sheriff to such darkness remains tangled in whispers of courthouse corruption, personal grievances, and fear. And what about Judge Mullins? Did he know about or take part in the abuse of female inmates and defendants in his chambers? Could a scandal so shocking like that have been kept secret in such a small town? That's another one of the lingering questions in this big scandal in a small Kentucky town. We've been covering the story from the beginning, and you know, each time we dive back into it, something else is revealed. And Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas has been in front of all of this and is joining us now. Cody, we've uncovered so many of these recordings from the day of the shooting itself. And every time, you know, we get a new recording, something else is revealed. What did Sheriff Mickey Steins say about his family in the moments after the shooting, after he turns himself in, and now the sheriff is the one under arrest?
Well, Vinny, one thing we know for certain, Sheriff Mickey Steins was incredibly concerned with the safety of his wife and his daughter, so much so that after he surrendered, after he walked back in that Letcher County Courthouse with that gun in his hand, no less, once they got him in the handcuffs and propped him up in that hallway, the first thing he said was that he just wanted to see his daughter. He wanted to lay eyes on her, wanted to know where his wife was just to make sure they were safe. And of course, we got a glimpse of that in that body cam recording. Take a look at this right now.
If I can see my daughter in person here.
Before you leave. Is that what you want?
At the jail.
At the jail?
Yep. At the jail, through the screen, on the phone, I want to see my daughter in person. And then after that, I'll tell you everything at that jail, in front of cameras, video recorded.
So, Mickey, was this anything to do with your daughter? Just a yes or no? I'll ask one last time. Is there anything you want? I mean, was this anything to do with your family? Depending on what kind of information comes out, that always can change how investigations are worked. You know what I mean?
Now, Vinny, he was silent in the back of that police cruiser, but he wasn't so silent with his attorney, Jeremy Bartley. Now, of course, we've heard plenty about these underground allegations of an underground sex ring and all the corruption going on in the Letcher County Courthouse with the judge and everybody else working in there. But a key component of all this is that the shooting happened on a Thursday. The Monday before the shooting, Steins was deposed in a deposition regarding some of these heinous allegations. And his attorney, Mr. Bartley, actually came on our program and touched on it just briefly. Take a listen.
The deposition that that Mickey was giving in that particular case was scheduled for Monday, and this happened on a Thursday. And I think there was a lot of interest by those people who populated the judge's chambers for whatever reason about what Mickey might say in those depositions.
That's wild. Like, what are they so worried about he's going to say in those depositions? What do they have to hide? I mean, they should have no problem with whatever he has to say in those depositions, right? I mean, all of this is looking so shady. I think they need to clean house here. Just completely remove everyone in power in that little town and start over fresh, because this really, that's alarming.
One of the things that we've talked about from the beginning is the fact that the first thing he said to the investigators was, I'm concerned that they were going to take or have taken my wife and daughter. We believe that that Mickey believes strongly that his wife and daughter and family were in imminent danger. Now, we believe at the same time that the pressure and anxiety and other factors that I'm not going to discuss tonight, we'll leave that for another day, but we believe that his mental health had been impaired and certainly was accelerated due to this civil deposition.
Now, Vinny, of course, we don't know what was said in that deposition, but there was clear concern by Sheriff Steins for his wife and daughter. And we also heard Mr. Bartley there touch on Steins' mental health. Early in August, Bartley filed a motion to have.
All right. So hold on. So now it's a big deal because we actually thought that maybe he was protecting his wife and his daughter, but okay, that's not fair either. So if he knew this was going on, he's concerned now because his wife and daughter could possibly be involved. Well, how convenient is that? Did he not expect that to happen with all the abuse of power in that town? So I don't know. And Barb says, I guess with all these women's mental health was impaired, asking for a friend. Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, now he has what, amnesia? Now he's having a mental break. I would have a mental break too if I thought my wife and daughter were involved in something like this. But if I knew the whole time what was going on in these apartments, I mean, is that wow? I just had to bring that up. That's wild to me. Now you care. Now you care about the abuse of power because you think it could be your wife and daughter. Well, what did you think was going to happen here?
Steins' psych evaluation unsealed by the court, but as of today, as of tonight, that is still sealed by the court, or it is still sealed, not unsealed.
All right, Cody Thomas, thank you so much. It's a lot there, right? So he's deposed, and the deposition is all about the sextortion scandal. That's on Monday. This happens on Thursday. He's concerned about his family after the shooting. Brings us to the next question in our investigation. How is the sextortion scandal connected to the shooting? There's a connection. You at this point, you cannot separate them, but how are they connected? How is it going to manifest itself? Here to help answer that question is the attorney representing the woman suing Sheriff Mickey Steins and his firm. Ned Pillersdorf is with us, and the chief public defender for Oakland County, Michigan, Paulette Lofton. Thank you both. Ned, great to catch up with you again. What are your thoughts about this connection? And I want you to put it in terms of not just the deposition, but what we just heard in the first half of this program, some of the allegations that this is a wider ranged type of scandal that we're talking about. Do you think it all has something to do with the shooting? And is there a connection here?
Whether there's a connection is a mystery. I was present when my co-counsel took Mr. Stein's deposition on Monday. When the shooting occurred on Thursday, the thought crossed my mind, is this related? Keeping in context, we had filed the lawsuit, which was a sweeping lawsuit. It alleged that the bailiff for Judge Mullins, Mr. Fields, had sex with my client in the judge's chambers. And if you go through the public filings of the lawsuit, at least 3 different women, Fields raped, molested, and that's not in question. He actually pled guilty. Whether it's connected to all that, we don't know. There are these new allegations.
Did he really just say these women feels? These women don't just feel. They, that's not really professional there, Mr. Lawyer. Maybe they allege they feels. Good Lord Almighty. Wow. I'll bet you $1 in a donut hole. This guy come right out of a Kroger's box or Kellogg's box. Listen to me, I'm not smart either, but I'm not up there saying I'm a lawyer either. Wow. What the hell?
We don't know. We did not allege Judge Mullins was involved. We have no information that Steins was involved. What we did allege, and one of the reasons we filed the lawsuit, these women that I'm concerned with, that's my agenda. My criminal defense practice is representing women in Kentucky criminal courts, and they're about half the docket. They're all drug cases. They're all vulnerable. And to be clear, I don't think the situation in Letcher is isolated. The reality is, if you're a woman caught up in the drug culture in an Appalachian courtroom, we're a cash bond situation. How do you get these women out of jail? Drug court is one possibility. Drug rehab is the other, or ankle bracelet. But these women are so subject to sexual extortion. They have no money. They've got kids at home, and they're desperate to stay out. Can they afford the $400 a month for an ankle bracelet? Or do they do what we allege in a lawsuit, do a sexual favor and save the $400? What that gets them is they get to go home to their kids. Are they in effect prostituted? Yes. I think early on I told NBC News they were running a brothel in that courthouse. Some people said, well, that rhetoric's overblown. I'm still not backing down. And I don't think it's limited to Letcher County. What's changed in my 44 years of criminal practice is 44 years ago, you hardly saw a woman in the courtroom. If you walk into an Appalachian courtroom today, there may be, say, 25 defendants, half of them will be women. Just about everyone will qualify for a public defender, and they're young and they've got kids. And what we as a criminal defense bar who care about these women, how do we get them out of jail? And that's the atmosphere we're dealing with.
Yeah, there's a level of desperation there. Let me ask you, Paulette, if this scandal is beyond a rogue deputy, right? Is beyond Ben Fields, right? It's not just him. It's like all these so-called, quote, higher ups that are involved. How do you think that is a connection as to why the sheriff did what he did?
I think there is a great chance that it is, because I don't think it's a coincidence that he was deposed on a Monday and this happened on a Thursday. His ability to supervise that deputy was called into question. I know in some of the reports, they stated that during that deposition, he was acting a little out of character. And he definitely seemed upset or frustrated at the fact he was being deposed.
Yeah, I guess so. Because he's known the whole time what's going on. I think I would be a little upset myself. He's fixing to get caught. Am I wrong? I mean, what do you guys think? I think this was about to come out. And the only people taking his wife and his daughter would be them leaving him. I could be wrong. I'm not. Everything I say is just my opinion. And you know what? Everybody's got one. but you're just not going to tell me this man did not know what was going on in there. There's just no way. I'm not going to believe that. Because if that's the case, he'd have to be a real dumbass. I mean, complete. Sorry, but not. I don't know.
So what happened between Monday and Thursday? I think that remains to be seen, but I would be shocked if it wasn't somehow related, because obviously he is in a position of prominence in his county. He didn't get there overnight. He worked his way up, as we have heard. And I'm sure he loved having that stature in the community, and it was being called into question. Now, what happened in those chambers or in that chambers that day? Was it something new that was brought to light that he didn't know before? I think we'll find that out, especially when they formulate their defense and figure out how to attack this charge.
All right, good news. Paulette and Ned are staying with us. Still to come, will the jury in Sheriff Stein's trial hear about these allegations?
Sometimes it'd just be you, sometimes it'd be a couple more with you.
And where would you go, and then what would happen?
Up to the judge's chambers to do sexual favors for him.
Monday.
This case was unlike a normal murder.
And he play with it.
Central.
Only on Court TV.
I went over there to learn to take a deposition that evening after work. And he was there by himself. And he did not teach me how to take a deposition.
What happened?
I ended up giving him oral with my shirt pulled down, and he threw money in my face. Sometimes it'd just be you, sometimes it'd be a couple more with you.
And where would you go, and then what would happen?
Up to the judge's chambers to do sexual favors for him. And you just go see him. Just go to his chambers.
As an inmate?
Whenever as an inmate, when you're in jail, they would bring you up. They bring you up to the chambers from jail.
And then what would happen?
Sex, drugs.
Some serious allegations against Judge Mullins and others, but Judge Mullins is the victim in the case against Mickey Steins. Serious allegations. Brings us to the next question in our investigation. Will the jury hear these allegations against the victim in the case, the victim of the shooting? Still with me, the attorney representing the woman suing Sean Steins, Ned Pillersdorf, and the chief public defender for Oakland County, Michigan, Paulette Lofton. Paulette, what are your thoughts here? Will the jury hear these allegations concerning conduct by the victim in the case, Judge Kevin Mullins?
So usually these facts would probably not be relevant. Juries do not like when you are speaking unkind of a decedent. But here, I think that the jury is going to hear about it in one of two ways. We obviously know that the defense attorney is claiming that he was either temporarily insane or mentally ill. So what I expect to happen is that a doctor would testify, and a doctor would be able to testify about all of the things that he told this doctor during his interview.
Let me guess, a local doctor? Is that what's going to go on here? We're going to call up a local doctor that he didn't know anything about all this, and we're going to get his. Oh, you know what? No, this is beyond ridiculous. What's next? I mean, really, they're going to call the local doctor. They're going to have him. Oh, yep, amnesia. He's lost his marbles. Yeah, okay, because he didn't know. Oh my goodness gracious! Come on now.
the victim of the shooting. Still with me, the attorney representing the woman suing Sean Steins, Ned Pillersdorf, and the chief public defender for Oakland County, Michigan, Paulette Lofton. Paulette, what are your thoughts here? Will the jury hear these allegations concerning conduct by the victim in the case, Judge Kevin Mullins?
So usually these facts would probably not be relevant. Juries do not like when you are speaking unkind of a decedent. But here, I think that the jury is going to hear about it in one of two ways. We obviously know that the defense attorney is claiming that he was either temporarily insane or mentally ill. So what I expect to happen is that a doctor would testify, and a doctor would be able to testify about all of the things that he told this doctor during his interview, what was going on in his mind at the time he pulled his gun out and shot him multiple times. So I do think a jury is going to be able to hear about it, because in order to make out a case for manslaughter, which we know is temporary insanity, I think all of these things would be relevant. Did he just find out about some of them in this conversation that he was having and essentially lost control of his emotions? Or was he dealing with a mental illness because of all of these things that he found out, and he thought he was going to lose his career, he was going to lose his position in the community, he could potentially be somehow sued himself or face potential criminal charges?
As he by God should. I am sorry. What the hell are we doing here? I'm sorry, you don't get amnesia because all of a sudden shit's getting real. No, sir. You don't get to play that card. Well, that's what I'm going to say next time I mess up. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have had amnesia. Oh, I must have been out of my mind. I must have had this moment. Oh, forgive me. Oh, who am I? Where am I? Come on. Stop that shit. We're not, no. Who is he fooling? I mean, you don't get to just, oops, I just must have had a little moment. Get out of here. You're a sheriff. You knew. Sorry, I'm over here just going off on it. I apologize, but he's not going to make me believe he didn't know. Shit got real when he thought his wife and daughter were involved. That's what's going on here. He might have helped other people doing this, but that was not this man's intention. You don't go into a judge's chambers and do what he did and then say, oh, I'm about to snap. You think? No way.
Is what was going through his mind is going to be so important. And because I think this is definitely going to play a large part, I think a jury's going to hear, because I think that's what the doctor is going to be able to tell the jury as to why he acted the way he did.
Ned, let me ask you, you know the jury's out there. If this conduct and these allegations end up in front of a local jury out there, what do you think their reaction is, and what impact would it have here in the case against Sheriff Mickey Steins?
You know, on the one hand, the prosecutors say this is a straightforward case. You see with your own eyes in front of you. The reality is, here's the argument I would make as the criminal defense lawyer for Mr. Steins. Eventually, the jury will be asked, what was his state of mind? In Kentucky, the jury instructions are, what was the defendant's state of mind? What I expect Steins' attorney to do is say, Judge, this is admissible. That his state of mind is relevant. If his state of mind is such that he knew that Judge Mullins did these outrageous things that have been alleged, we don't know if they're true or not, that would be the argument to get that evidence in. And if the jury hears that, it is, you know, if I'm defending Steins, I would never use the word insanity. I would use the word somehow justified. Or there's another expression called jury nullification. It typically comes up in, I guess it most commonly comes up with the abused spouse finally fights back after years of abuse and kills the abuser. It's not so much a self-defense case, but it's almost like the deceased was acting so badly, the jury doesn't mind that he got eventually what he was coming to. That's kind of defense. And I've said this before, the movie A Time to Kill, the John Grisham, this is starting to look like that case. Now, who knows if these allegations involving Judge Mullins are true or not? I can certainly see friends of Steins, who has a following, is a popular guy, making this stuff up. And of course, Mullins isn't here to defend himself. On the other hand, I have been approached by other women who are making similar allegations that you heard earlier in the show. There's not much I can do for them. It's not really relevant.
That smirk, that little smirk that the judge made when whatever Stein said to him, I'm sorry, whatever he said to him, that judge's smirk, that makes me sick. That makes me literally nauseous. Because obviously the question asked was something serious, and then he smirks. That's these two are friends. That tells me a lot. Dirty is dirty. I don't care. You can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Something is not right. There's a flaw in this whole damn town. All of them.
Into my case. And actually, I simply, if they want to talk about it, I actually told them to go ahead and contact Mr. Bartley, who's representing Mr. Sheriff Steins.
Yeah, it does make sense. So, Paulette, you know, in the end, this is, and I think Ned did a great job there saying it's a very simple case on the one hand. On the other hand, it's anything but simple. All of this. It gets very layered, very complicated. Do you think anything comes of all of this? Does this become much bigger than, you know, it's a horrific crime that's been alleged, but does it become something bigger if these allegations do bear out in some form?
I think so. Definitely the previous guest that you had on, if more women are feeling comfortable coming forward now because this judge is deceased, the sheriff is in jail, maybe they feel that what they have to say would be more readily accepted. If more women come forward and there's more of an investigation, then I definitely do think this case could have a turn that no one really expected.
Yeah. It's unreal. Never seen anything like it. Ned Pillersdorf, Paulette Lofton, thank you so much. Appreciate your time, insight. If this alleged sexual misconduct had been happening over the course of years, as has been alleged by some, it's beyond outrageous. I mean, this undermines the trust and sanctity of our system. And anyone with knowledge of it who permitted it to continue should be nowhere near a courthouse administering justice.
That's right.
Or making arrests.
You tell
The question is, will these allegations make their way into Mickey Stein's trial?
Probably not.
I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation.
Oh, Lord. Well, I'll tell you what. I have seen some bad towns, but this right here, what in... I just don't. We got one more. I guess he's going to claim he has amnesia. He's having a little moment. He don't know what's going on. Yeah, you got your feet too close to the fire there, Mickey. Let's see what this one is. I'm sure that's what he's going to do. He's going to play victim here. Going to play victim. You know, use of power all this many years. You think your wife and your daughter might be a part of it, but now, boop, I forgot. Oh no, where am I? Who am I? Bullshit. I'm not buying that crap. There is no way. No.
The spotlight is on former Kentucky Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins, who was accused of murdering a judge and new grand jury testimony. Judge Kevin Mullins was gunned down in his office almost 1 year ago. At the time, there were rumors that this had something to do with Stein's daughter. A detective has now revealed that Mullins did not have any sort of relationship with Stein's daughter, including phone calls and text messages. Here's what the same detective said about it last year.
What? So he thought, hold on now. This can't just be me. Guys, tell me in chat. I've got to have some feedback here. So, what the? So he thought his wife and daughter might be involved in this and did this stuff when in all actuality, his wife and daughter had nothing to do with this? Is that what in the, I'm going to have to write this down. I'm not ever going to Kentucky. Kentucky checked off. No, sorry. Let's continue.
You intend to obtain records for her cell phone number?
Possibly, yes.
Do you believe that that will be soon that you'll do that?
Could be, yes.
Had you already intended to do that, or did you just respond to my question?
Well, the call should be on the judge's records too.
Well, I understand.
And she's made statements about what occurred during those conversations.
The former sheriff's mental health is also at the center of this case. Some claiming he was in a state of psychosis following the shooting and that he has no memory of that incident. Why don't we go ahead and talk about it this morning? Criminal defense attorney David Bruno is still with us this morning, as well as board certified forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Dr. Lieberman, thank you for joining the program. The Commonwealth is fighting a defense motion to unseal his first mental exam. And instead of asking for a second evaluation, that's what they want to do here. Carol, can you kind of talk about that? What are your thoughts on this in general?
Well, I think that this is one of the best cases for not guilty by reason of insanity that I've seen, because first of all, we have witnesses that show that say that observed the sheriff and said that he was, in various states of not his usual mental health. And then after the killing, well, I watched a video that was over 2 hours of the sheriff after he was arrested. And it was clear, from the beginning that he really was in a psychotic state. He seemed to be responding to auditory or visual hallucinations. He was paranoid. He thought they were going to kill him. He was very psychotic. So, and in order to prove that, they have to prove that by mental disease or defect, he was unable to appreciate the wrongfulness of his act, the wrongfulness of the killing. And so I think that they have it. And the state is concerned that the exam, the psychiatric exam, apparently showed that he was psychotic, or the details haven't been released, but that they want to have their own psychiatrist examine him because they don't like what they understand is the results of the first exam.
Let me guess. The local psychiatrist? I don't mean to laugh, but I see this so much. Let me guess. The local coroner's coming in somewhere next. This is heartbreaking, and it seems like it should be in a fiction book. Seriously, this is not right. Wow. I finally realized that what I did was wrong. Oh, wow. I no longer have amnesia now that I know my wife and daughter wasn't involved. Oh, good Lord.
David, let's bring you in on this. So the defense talking about an insanity defense. What do you think about that approach based on what Dr. Lieberman just was talking about?
Sure, the crime's on video. I don't see any other defense other than this for this particular defendant. That's number one. Number two, the reports are certainly that there's indicia of psychosis either before, during, or after, which the defense is going to explore with their expert. And so once the defendant is examined by that forensic psychiatrist, that is now the state's obligation because they get their own expert and they are entitled to another examination of the defendant. And it's really going to be a battle of the experts, if you want to call it that. But the state, I mean, they shouldn't be on one side or the other. They should be following the facts as they are to determine, because if there is psychosis, if he was insane, and the state goes and gets an expert to agree with that, then we should not be seeing a jury trial on this particular issue. And it could be a meeting of the minds with.
Y'all know what I'm going to say here. He better see a jury trial. Those girls, those victims deserve to see a jury trial. Everything needs questioned. Everything needs answered. Will they? Probably not, because they'll get the other local judge. Good Lord Almighty.
A plea that is in the best interest of everyone, given the expert opinions.
Why don't we go ahead and play some video of Steins? This was right after the arrest.
I can't sit like this. Slide sideways. I can't. Come on now. Be fair to me.
We're being good to you, brother. Stick your leg up in there.
Come on now, guys. Please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. Please.
You want to scoot on over a little bit to the left?
Come on now.
Try to scoot on over a little bit more. That way we don't hit you. Can you go a little bit farther? I just want to hit you with the door. Put your knee in there, my friend.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Bates. Hey, Bates. Can we loosen this up a little or give the window down?
I'm sorry.
Can we loosen this up a little? Be fair to me, man.
Dr. Lieberman, what does that video tell you?
Well, it's part of his being concerned that they want to kill him. Now, they were as nice to him, you know, because they had worked with him for years and all that. They really were trying to be kind to him. But no matter what they said, he was sure that they were going to kill him. And that, I think, had partly to do with the deposition that he went to, that he testified at some days before, about a case where they were saying, where a woman brought a case saying that she had been sexually molested by one of his deputies. And so it was all, that's kind of where a lot of this percolated, you know, when he, from this deposition, where he thought that people would be angry at him if he revealed some of the things that he knew about that were going on, you know, in the judge's chamber, or he was afraid that they were going to want to kill him for telling the truth. So, but this isn't even the worst part. I mean, earlier, he wouldn't go into one of the rooms in the station, because he was sure that they were going to kill him if they brought him into that room. He kept asking about, do you have your body camera on? You know, make sure you have it on, because he wanted to have evidence that they were killing him or planned to kill him.
David, you know, the Commonwealth is requesting a change of venue, and the defense is fighting that. Talk about how unusual that is.
Yeah, let's talk about how unusual that would be and how that wouldn't benefit this little small town of power, corruption, all the things they did to these victims. How inconvenient would it be to have this moved to a town where they actually follow the law? Wow, wouldn't that be such a thing? What would we do then? That these victims would actually get justice and they would be heard. Because that's justice. Not this game of hokey pokey they're playing here.
Is for prosecutors to ask for a change of venue. We usually see defense counsel making that motion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, prosecutors, they like being in their home courthouse for sure. That's where the resources are. That's where the witnesses are. Typically, it's an advantage to be at their home courthouse for prosecutors when defense attorneys have to bring in all the boxes and they don't have their own offices and things like that. But this is a very different case. And what the doctor is talking about right now is also this other sort of reporting going on about the victim in the case, the judge, and civil complaints about sexual abuse going on within the judicial system, and the request for sexual favors to carry benefit on particular cases. Now, I don't know if that's going to be proven. There's also the reporting that potentially there was a relationship with the defendant's daughter, which we reported initially that that's not bearing out. But that's not necessarily what the defendant thought in his mind. And if he thought those things, and that's part of the psychosis, that will be another layer to the analysis by the forensic psychiatrist. Ultimately, that's going to take place here.
That's a really good point, David. Thank you for bringing that up.
What do y'all think? I mean, I'm not sure that they're going to get their justice. I mean, if they change this venue, they very well could. But if they keep that in that small town, man, I just don't know. Like, I just don't know. I hope they get their change of venue. I really do, because then they can all feel free enough to just say exactly what happened. But if they follow suit here with their normal activity, it'll be another local judge, another local counselor, therapist, whatever. It's just one big flaw in the slaw. And that is disgusting. It's went on generation to generation. That's unreal to me. This is the stuff that nightmares are made of. Really terrible. I don't even know what to say to that. I can't believe that went that far. Those many years. And then these victims, and the one, God love her, she's strong. She's like, heck yeah, hear me. Wow. The courage it took for her. Absolutely, just the courage it had to take for her to come forward. Well, all right, guys, I guess that's it. I just couldn't let this one go. I was like, I better check over and see what O'Steins is doing. Because at first, I thought, what in the world's he doing? Maybe his daughter was involved or something to give up his whole life. But now that all this has come out, this is just one big Kentucky Diddy party. And I think it's disgusting. It's just, it's horrible. These girls, all of them need justice. Even Mr. Steins there needs to get him a nice little cell and figure out what it feels like to be a criminal. Because I don't think what he did he's just not, no, nope. Well, thank you all very, very much for joining me. I'm sorry, I know my voice was kind of bad in the beginning. I've been drinking some water. It's getting better. But thank you guys so much for joining this evening. It means a lot. And I can't tell you the next time I can go live. Hopefully I can get over this soon. If not, then I'll see you next time.
Story leaves a mark. We are the ones who won't forget. The fight for truth is not done yet. We shine the light, we raise the call. For the missing, the broken, we stand tall. For justice, for healing, for every tear. We carry their names, we keep them near. Doodlebug's voice, loud and clear. Advocate, reveal, we're here.